She was a self-sufficiency worker for the county of Tulare. She had to give people welfare. I'm running around these same people smoking crack. Born in North and South Korea. Came back to the United States, where I was born in Fort Smith, Arkansas. She met a man named Wayne. Came here to California. My mom, bless her heart, I mean, I'm sure she's a loving person, but she was a terrible one. I mean, but she had her problems. Coke or whatever, drugs, bikers, you name it. And she abandons me with Wayne, and I lived with an abusive alcoholic for many years.
You saying that's your father? You're saying
That's my adopted father.
Okay, the adopted
Yeah,
father. Okay,
adopted father. Now, if you want to look at my entire family thing, I've got my mom had and Colin had me. She comes back here. She meets Wayne. Then there's Jennifer and Jeremy with another man, and then my mom meets my other sister's father. So I've got two half sisters and one half brother here in the United States. Then you go over to United. I find that after years of talking about this, to hear that I was born where I was conceived and born and all this other crap, it's like, okay, all right, and it's a fascinating story. And then my dad, he goes back to England, I'm sorry, you got to be very specific. The Welsh are not English. My dad goes, I guess, back there. I didn't know anything about him till I was 13 years old. And I got a letter from my grandfather over in South Wales. And I was told that I had three sisters at the time. And then later on, when I finally met him, Dad had married Jen, or didn't really marry her, but he was with her. And Jen brought Donna and Melanie. And there's another girl right before her, which was Joanne's mom, which that lady, I guess, just brought Joanne into the family. And then right before that, there was another lady who was Emma, Sam, and Rebecca's mom. So there's like 8 half sisters and 1 half brother. And that's not also including my dad here in the United States getting married to another girl and her bringing in children, and my mom having another husband, Coop, who was an ex-biker, ex-CHP, who also had kids. So I have an extremely large family.
Yeah.
And it is the most and I love him to death. I mean, if you see this on there, I got to remember to say things with as much respect as possible. But I have the most dysfunctional family on the planet. I really do. I can barely remember sometimes having gatherings when I was younger. For me growing up, I basically was kind of on my own, and my father, he was a hard worker. Wayne, he too sucked at being a parent. I mean, he had some really good values. I'm blessed that I know how to change a tire. I'm blessed that I can cook. I'm blessed that I can do a lot of things people can't, like read and write and things. But at the same time, I lived in fear of that man for years and years. He was extremely physically abusive alcoholic. He I've been in a lot of fights growing up, and out of all of them, he was the worst one because he comes home one night and growing up, I put him through a lot of things. But he comes home one night, and I guess my brother and sister here in the United States were playing with 2 beer bottles and filled them up with water, stuck them in the fridge. He comes home and sees those. He thinks me and my friends have been home drinking. I'm under 18. He looks at me. I had just taken a hit of acid. I'm 110 pounds soaking wet. My friends used to call him Hulk Hogan because he was a big electrician and he had the blonde hair, but he had cancer when he was younger, but he got rid of it because my family comes from Oklahoma, his side. So they're used to working out in the fields and working, so he got cancer possibly from drinking the well water. Well, so he was still a very big man, and he was an electrician. He got out of being a farmer. Thinks that I'm drinking, catches me in the kitchen and fucking laid into me. Trying to put them big old cowboy boots up my ass. Somehow my brother saved me, And after that, I left home when I was 17. And but I had a lot of friends that I was able to hang out with. That kind of after that, I can kind of concerned my family for many years. So it was fun growing up, I guess. But later, eventually, we would eventually figure out how to have some kind of relationship. Until here
Your parents were
recently.
saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, anytime you want to, yeah, ask me questions.
Oh no, no, because I'm just trying to understand. Because you said you guys were still able to get a relationship going on down the line.
Yeah,
Your
that's
parents
the
were saying.
trip, man. Is growing up. I mean, he was. As I told my stepmom on the day of my grandma's passing, she asked me how I handled him, and I said I was high. The first beer I ever had at 9 years old, I drank because he let me have a couple of beers. I turned into an alcoholic. Um, it was difficult being raised by him because he scared me to death. I didn't want to be at home. I didn't. I tried to tell that man anything he wanted to hear. But as we got older and I got into the gardening profession, I guess I got less scared of them. I got less scared of a lot of things, got more cocky about things. I don't know, but eventually we were able to develop a really good relationship until, years went down the road and he himself away. I love the man dearly. He tried very hard, but he went and met another woman named Marcia. And so I also have a crack cocaine addiction as well. And he went through that with me for many years. I had a business, I had a marriage, I had money, I worked for all the right people back home, got into a drug addiction, and suddenly this little white boy is hanging out in the hood, believe it or not.
And what neighborhood was this? If you don't mind me asking.
A step lower than like going downtown Oakland.
Mm.
And I was, yeah, I know. I was like, this guy's black. He understand the humor and all that. But it really is funny because me and my ex, we bought our first house and things were going so good. And my neighbor comes over one day and he's like, "What can you handle this?" Puts a little rock down. I looked at it. Yeah, I've been doing drugs for years, no problem.
And that was the crack cocaine.
That was the crack cocaine. And I went in the bathroom of my brand new house. I bought an 8 ball and smoked it to my entire dome. 6 hours later, I came out and found him and asked him if he had any more. But my father Wayne, he went through all this with me. I thought he would know what addiction could have done. But years later, I guess he turned into a very bad alcoholic. He was to my knowledge, a a gallon, black velvet gallon every 3 days. He would drink one.
Shit.
Yeah, I guess the man could drink. But I finally started coming back around, and I wanted to be there for him as a son. I no longer, I wasn't trying to scam money out of him. I didn't want any. I didn't want any of his money, really. I just wanted to be there as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and Alcoholics Anonymous, because I've got 15 years off of crack cocaine.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy my weed, but
Congrats.
I was able to turn my life around from that. I had, like I said, I had a business and lost all that. I was living in the streets of Tulare. I was homeless for a while, but I went in and out of jails. But I thought Wayne would have seen this. But instead, when you're just down the road, I thought I was going to be able to help him. Then one day, I'm watching the news and I see this man run through a subway in Fowler drunk after being told he was sober. All the lies that any alcoholic he was doing to me. And I thought, well, how disrespectful. I mean, all the hell I put them through, and he's going to act just like I do and give me the same stupid ass responses to my questions. But somehow, one day he decides, and my brother decides I'm the bad guy because, from what I understand, I think he was going to the bar. He got caught, or didn't get caught, but he got somebody's boyfriend didn't like it. Went to his house, beat him up, left him in a puddle of blood at his house, and I got blamed for it. And I was never even in the county. But somehow my brother believed this, and so this father no longer talks to me. And I still, actually, he never really told me why. I've only had hearsay from other family members that decided to finally talk to me, which makes this even worse. The father over here in the United Kingdom My second visit, I was sick, not feeling well. Apparently, I offended the family over there in a way, and I felt bad, so we decided to take a third trip. I thought I was on my best behavior, staying with my sister. Everything's going fine. Yeah, oh yeah, you're doing fine, Todd. Get home, get an evil text message that I'm the biggest piece of shit on the planet, and I still don't know why from him.
This is from your father.
Both fathers.
Oh, both of them. Oh shit.
Now you can now. I know weird shit happens, and I can back all this up. I have people. Strange shit like that just does not happen, but it did to me. And again, I could see that most people, if you do something wrong, at least give them respect to tell them. I have no idea. I had to come up with answers and probe and ask other family members who would actually talk to me,
To figure it out.
and some of them, by the responses, still won't tell me everything. They're like, yeah, I kind of heard about it, Todd. Or, you get those vague answers, but you know that they know kind of type, but they don't want to tell you because they don't want to cause more problems.
Yeah.
Or get themselves in part of it.
I would say, or be the one, be ones to be who told.
So yeah, and then my mom, bless her heart here, like I said, she abandoned me. In my opinion, she did. I did not see her myself until last year. Personally, we had not seen physically each other for about 30-something years.
30-something years?
And this is my own mom, who did not ever come to see me on my deathbed up here.
Now, I'm curious. Now,
yeah,
why did you guys fall out for so long?
My mom had a lot of problems growing up when she was younger, and she got my brother and sister to live with her. And I got to a little bit when I was really young, but man, I don't know. I mean, I've been told she was raped by my grandfather, or she did, my uncle, and she has had some social problems. She ran with bikers, which I thought, those guys are great people. I don't know. She can't even. She is very hypersensitive, and she's been through a lot. And for me, even to try to tell her that, I want to, I forgive you for what happened, Mom. Yeah, you're a shit parent, but you brought me into this world. Regardless of how you treated me, I should at least have some respect for you in that way. Yeah. So it's hard for me to talk to her. Yeah, I have the biggest family on this planet, and not one family member will practically talk to me. And I kind of get an idea why. I know I was a bad person. I know I made some bad choices.
Was that anything? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Was that anything maybe to do with your addiction down the line or anything like that?
I think it did, and especially here in the United States, the Walsh family didn't go through it. The American family did. But there was one family member, my grandma, Pauline Eason, who, if the rest of the family could act like her, because my family used to get mad because they thought I was taking money from her when she was still alive and okey doking her and stuff. And what I loved about my grandma was she was a devoted Christian. I can't stand religion. I believe highly in a spiritual higher power, but when it comes to like the Catholics and those people, there's just things that rub me wrong about them. But with her, she was a devoted Christian her entire life, gave her tithes, saw angels. But the blessed thing about her was she expressed that unconditional love. I mean, yeah, I was a bad person. But I remember before her passing, she's like, I know what you were doing. And I just love you just because you're my grandson.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, if the rest of my family could just exhibit that. Yeah, they say they could, but then there's crap that's attached to it. I've tried for years, man, to go back and talk to my family and say, look, I apologize. Can we talk? I'm not the same person. I've had a job for these many years. I've cleaned up. I've got friends that are not whoever they used to be, but I'm an actual person. I think I'd be someone worth knowing. Not a chance.
If you don't mind me asking, what were like some of the things you may have done to the family or to your mom?
Well, let's see.
If you don't mind saying.
No. Well, when I was younger and I was out running around doing crack cocaine, it was told that I was pulling tricks and smoking or sucking dick for crack and running around with hookers, which was partially right. I was stealing from anybody and anything I could from. Um, I had a good life, and all of a sudden one day I just switched, clicked, and even before that, when I was growing up with Wayne, I was just irresponsible, I guess. I mean, I was having a good time at 17 or whatnot. Um, I didn't think anything of it. Most of my family even still liked me back then. But as I got older, and today, like that last, going over here, my last visit over to Europe, and to get that from my sister, that email, and the whole time I've been looking at her going, we're having a good vacation, I'm trying to do better than last time. Yeah, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, poof. And then I even had at least enough respect to come to me and say, look, Todd, you're here in our country. I know you live this way, but our customs and traditions are this way. You might be offending people. Maybe, if somebody could have come and talked to me. uh, I mean, when we acted this way, I got on Facebook. My father over there, even if you see this, they may not like it. Fuck them. Um, the, when I heard they were tough individuals, and they're all this and they're that and they're this and they're that. Well, if you're all this or that, why can't you come up to 125-pound scrawny little wipe away from the United States and tell him that he's doing something wrong and school him about it for a minute? At least sit down and talk with them. Growing up, I would say, yeah, I was a very violent person. I was scared. I didn't want. I would. Yeah, I wanted to be. I wanted people to be scared of me. Now, today, I want people to see that I've got recovery in a lot of different ways from the sickness I've went through, the addiction. But again, man, I'm not even sure that if I left here and tried to go onto my parents' property, that I wouldn't have a gun or the cops called on me just for being on the property, and I wouldn't know why. My mom, I've tried to talk to her, and she's had so much done to her that she's hyper vigilant in saying, I didn't do that. Don't attack me in any way. So it's hard for me to really talk to her about anything. Um, no, it's and I've had good friends to talk to. I had one friend of mine, a lover of mine. Like I was saying, I was gay. Well, I'm not gay, but I have to say I'm bi-curious. I watched my lover die in my arms in my parking lot one day because he was murdered. And I couldn't really talk about that till now. It isn't with it till the last year I've been able to acknowledge that I love this man, and that he was a homeless person, but he was a real good friend of mine. And I come home one day and he's dying in my driveway. I was there before the cops. Somebody hit him with a lock and murdered him. And I watched him die in my arms. And I didn't talk to my counselor about that. Actually, I haven't. I'm getting ready to I'm starting to get back into counseling again, because this Christmas, my roommate takes off and goes to Texas to be with his family. And I sat there alone the last couple of weeks, and I don't know, this Christmas was hard. But why they don't talk to me, I certainly would like to know why. I would like to just one of them to honestly sit down and then have a talk with me and say, well, this is what we don't like about you or something. I mean, at least you've got therapists for this shit. So, but how I deal with it every day, it's all these things that I just mentioned: crack cocaine addiction, loss of stuff, and being homeless, and having to start over back in Hollister, and how I worked my ass off to get to where I'm at now. Uh, Even all that, some days you could. I've had a couple people ask me, it's like, how do you just make it through the day?
Yeah, I used to make it through. Yeah, you know.
And what I do is I don't. First off, I don't want to let anything be the reason. I don't want to. If I'm going to kill myself, it's certainly not going to be because of those folk. But I'm. I got nothing else going on. There's family is very important to mine too, and I really wish they would. It's very lonely, but I know there's a reason I'm supposed to maybe say, look, things can be bad, but it's not so bad that, yeah, it will get better. It will get better. Technically, we shouldn't be talking, me and you. I should be either 6 feet under because of a crack addiction, or or the disease, that valley fever, it really should have offered.
Do you mind
No,
taking us a little bit through that,
the
through
valley
the valley
fever.
fever?
Oh yeah, that was a trip, man. Um, to I'd never heard about it, and then one day, I was saying I'm laying there and I feel a bump in my throat, and I come to find out it had built up, the cocci had built up here, and so I finally got talked into going to ICU here in Santa Clara. I walked in, but the next day I woke up and I couldn't move. It like I said, it attacked up here.
And then,
Um,
and then once again,
yeah,
how do you contract valley fever?
it's a fungus that I guess comes originally from San Joaquin Valley. Where I'm originally from is Tulare County, the ass in between Bakersfield and Fresno.
Uh,
So it's in that soil there. I read that about 10,000 or so people a year catch it. It's kind of common. It generally, to my knowledge, is like pneumonia. It will attack the lungs, and generally most people can recover from it. If left untreated or with a very severely impacted immune system, it will turn into different forms, which will go to other parts of the body. Me catching it in the brain, I ended up having to have spinal taps. I've had lumbar things. The all sorts of doctors from all sorts of places have been around and checked me out because this stuff, if you get it in the areas I got it, I think I should at least have the brain of an 80-year-old. And somehow, after just being in a bed for 6 months, I physically started to get up and start to walk again. And then suddenly I'm back to work doing yard maintenance and trying to buy my boss's business and renting his crew and going. A guy who was homeless on the streets at one time is now looking at trying to buy my boss's business and bought a new car off a car lot and and for the most part a very stable relationship with my roommate. I mean, we don't cuddle or anything, but he is. Uh, if he had a vagina, he'd be the best marriage I ever had. I swear, man. He is a wonderful man. See, but the thing about that cocci, I mean, people get sick. The worst part of it for me was no one came. I mean, Eric did. He was the only one who ever came and sat me in jail.
not sure.
That's my
Roommate?
roommate. He's put up. God, that man's put up with so much shit with me. I love him dearly. And he was there for me in this situation. My mom only lived 6 hours down the road here in California. And my Wayne, 3, not one family member, even on my deathbed, came and saw me. My own mother couldn't even take a few minutes every time. How does anyone get up and live through that?
I know that one has to be hard.
Maybe it's complete arrogance. Maybe it's being stubborn. Maybe it's knowing that I am kind of a little bit special after understanding what I've been through, and maybe other people who see this will go, well, fuck, if he got through it, maybe there is a possibility. Yeah, I'm sitting in jail, no one loves me, this and the other. It'll get better. I've been in jail. I did 2.5, 3 years on the extension, on the installment plan in Visalia. I was this close to going to prison for stealing money, or not money, metal, back home in Tulare County. They almost gave me a 5-year prison term. But then they gave me a year, and that phrase, we know who you are, is not always a good thing. As my public defender told me, we know who you are, take the year. Okay. So I know what it's like to be very, very lonely, but to be in a hospital and it's just you and God, um, you find a way. You have to. Fuck, man, what are you gonna do? Just lay there and die, and then give everyone the satisfaction around you that you gave up, that the things that you had to say about you were true. Nah, I couldn't let my family. I couldn't let my family have that one up of me. And you know what? I really would like to have them part of my life. And who knows? Maybe someday I'll have a niece or a nephew who'll be doing like research on the family and come around and be like, "Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you. I've heard a lot about you." Okay. Yeah.
So now, quick question.
Yeah.
So, when did you actually know that your father wasn't your real father?
When I was 13 years old, 12 or 13.
Wait,